Recording in progress. Hi everyone, welcome back. Wait, should I look at the camera? Should I look here or should I look here?
Look at the camera. يلا بينا.
Hi. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we have a very special guest, one of the best Arabic teachers in the world, Ahmed.
Come on, buddy.
Hello.
Hi, hello. ازيك يا جينا؟ How are you?
كله تمام وانت عامل ايه؟
أنا كويس أوي الحمد لله.
الحمد
It's been a long
لله.
time.
Ahmed is one of my Arabic tutors, and he has been a key person and like a very important person in my Arabic growth or learning journey. And he's also a very good friend. And he was the person who encouraged me the most to start this YouTube channel. So shukran ya Ahmed. شكرا جدا.
شكرا يا جينا. انت شاطرة وممتازة والله.
انت يا شطر، انت مدرس شاطر قوي 100%، اكتر من 100%.
شكرا يا جينا.
So I thought I would have Ahmed here today, and I wanted to ask him a few questions about learning Egyptian Arabic and teaching Egyptian Arabic, because he has a lot of experience. He's been teaching for a bit now. But first, Ahmed, could you maybe introduce yourself?
First, thank you so much for having me with you, Gina. You know how much I love your channel, and I'm always waiting for the next video. So to be with you here today, this is, flattering. Thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Ahmed Diab, and I'm actually a filmmaker and currently a teacher, an Arabic teacher. I'm teaching online for like almost a year and a half now. Yeah, I like to define myself as like a filmmaker and an Arabic teacher. Yeah.
He's a good filmmaker too. I've seen some of the short films. You'll see him at the next Guna Film Festival on the big screens. Inshallah.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay, cool. And so why did you decide to teach Arabic online?
That was actually at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was staying home, and I've always been, passionate about teaching, but I've never given it a try except for like an internship where I was teaching like refugee kids. I was teaching them Arabic and English in a refugee center. And, it was at the beginning of the pandemic. That was like almost a year and a half ago. And I decided that I need to find a job. So I started teaching on italki online, and I actually fell in love with teaching. After a few lessons, I just realized that, I'm going to keep doing this.
I think I was one of the first lessons.
Yes. It's been like a beautiful journey, 1 year and a half. So.
No, that's awesome. I'm really happy that you like it now and everything. Like, well, I mean, you liked it. Sorry, I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
Thank you. And you are one of the smartest students that I have. Honestly, you're a great learner, very passionate. So yeah, I'm gonna say that.
Man, too nice. Get out of here.
لا الحقيقة والله, it's the truth, buddy.
شكرا قوي بجد. And then can you tell us like where do your students mostly come from, or like what countries do you see a lot of students from?
I think most of my students come from America. Yeah, I have like, I would say like at least 50% of my students are from America. I have a lot of European students as well, but the biggest portion, or the biggest number of students come from America. Yeah.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah, actually, it's like, I would say like at least half of my students. I have like, now I have around like 70 or 75, regular students. I'd say that like half of them at least are Americans.
Wow. And like for Egyptian Arabic?
For Egyptian Arabic, yeah.
Wow. Yalla, mustard is getting popular. Yes, learn اللهجة المصرية. That's all I gotta say.
I actually feel like more people lately are becoming interested in Egyptian Arabic, and during the language challenge, like the months, I find a lot of new students who are coming for Egyptian Arabic. So yeah, it's very interesting actually.
Oh, interesting. And I guess like that kind of segues to the next question. So, like, what are some of the motivations of your students to learn Musri? Like, why are they learning it?
I think like each student has his own story, but I
Mm.
have a lot of Egyptian students, like, they have Egyptian parents, but they've always been living abroad, and they're Arabic, like they've never gotten the chance to speak Arabic or practice, even at home. Like I have a lot of students, one of their parents, their mom is Egyptian, but their father is, American, or the other way around. So they always speak Arabic at home, and now they just want to learn their native language, the language of their parents. So and I have a lot of students who are actually traveling around Egypt. Like I have many students who start learning Arabic because they're coming to Egypt, or they want to travel around Egypt. Many of them are actually going to travel around the Middle East, but they find that Egyptian is the most widely spoken dialect in the region, so they decided to speak Arabic. And yeah, some of them are actually doing like Arabic, courses at university. So there's always someone with a different story. But yeah, I would say like many of them are traveling, or they have like Egyptian parents.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's nice. And I'm happy to hear people are traveling to Egypt. If
Finally, with
I
the
know,
pandemic.
Akhiran, finally, like if you are watching this interview and you have not been to Egypt, I highly, highly recommend you go visit for thousands of reasons. مصر
You
أم
should
الدنيا.
you should work with the Ministry of Tourism.
I know, right? I feel like
Promote.
I promote Egypt a lot. I feel like we needed some kind of collaboration or
Yes, they should
literally.
pay you as well.
No, because literally, like I talk to so many of like people and like so many of my friends from college and stuff, and they tell me like, okay, like you convinced me, like now I want to go to Egypt, or like I never thought of it, but like now I want to go. Thank you. That's called persuasion.
That's amazing. Especially Dahab. You should also visit Dahab,
So if
if someone is ever in Egypt.
so if you don't know Ahmed, he is the ambassador for Dahab, which is a city on the Red Sea in Egypt, and Dahab actually means gold in Arabic. But Ahmed is always in Dahab.
Good
I always
move
like,
there.
Ahmed, how are you? I'm good. I'm flying to Dahab tomorrow. Oh, I'm coming back from Dahab. I'm in Dahab now.
You're gonna get obsessed once you visit. Trust me, like it's a very beautiful town, amazing. It's by the sea, and very chilling and relaxing. So yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely. I need to also
I,
experience like the chaotic rustle and bustle of Cairo. Excited for this. Yeah, yeah.
I've had enough of this, 30 years.
I
So
didn't
yeah.
have enough yet. I've been in like,
Yes.
the quiet places in the US like for my whole life. I need this honk, 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 like for a little bit.
Madness.
And then I wanted to ask you, so for I guess like in your experience teaching Musri so far, what have been some of the biggest mistake or like the most common mistakes you've seen students make?
I think the biggest mistake students make, and I think they do it with any language that is considered hard, like they give up too early. So I have students who start like a month or two, and then they go like, "Oh, this language is just too hard for me," so they stop. But the ones who actually continue, I have students who've been with me for like a year now. Once you get past this initial, hardship, I would say like once you hit 6 months, your improvement level is going to be very high, and you can actually see it. So I say just stick around, like wait for give yourself at least 6 months. And the other thing is people get busy. So you just have to find time. If you actually want to learn the language, you just have to dedicate part of your life to that. It's a journey. It's I would say it's like a 2 years project at least. So
Mhm.
you just gotta stick around. So yeah, I think giving up too early.
Yeah, don't give
Yeah.
up. You can do it. If I
Yes.
can learn it, you can learn it. Learn Masri. That's the point of this video. That's all.
انتي ممتازة والله. انتي شاطرة يا جينا.
But also I wanted to ask, so like, do you also like off the top of your head, do you know any like other like specific examples, maybe with like vocabulary or grammar that you just see like everyone always making this mistake?
It's not a mistake, but it's the ain. Like people are always having a hard time with the ain. Some specific letters they do not exist in English or other languages, so it's hard to pronounce. But that's I don't think it's a mistake really. It's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
more of a practice, and you just gotta keep practicing these letters. The ain, ghin, ha. These are the hard emphatic letters. Yeah, they need. That's a good one. Like a native.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, but like for me, I think like one mistake I always make is I always confuse masculine and feminine. I always mix them around, and a lot of people tell me, Gina, you messed this up.
That's another common mistake actually people make. Yeah, it's I don't think like because nouns do not have gender in English, for example. Like a car is just a car, but in Arabic any noun has a gender, so that could be confusing for someone who's like his native English is a native English speaker or is yeah, Arabic is not his first language. That could be a
Yeah.
little bit hard to get used to. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Egyptian Arabic is so cool. Like, I don't know, because in English, I feel like the way like a sentence is structured is just like a bunch of like little words together. But like in Musri, you like have the root word like you taught me, and then it's like you build off of it. So like for example, like ha'ulik, like it's like I will tell you. It's four words in English, but it's just one in Arabic. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah, in one word.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
very
It's so
compressed
easy.
and then also I wanted to ask, in your opinion, what do students generally find most difficult about learning Egyptian Arabic?
I think it's verbs, even though it's easier than Fusha. Like in Fusha we have more pronouns. You have the dual form. You have for the plural, for example, there's masculine and feminine. But I feel like the initially, especially at the beginning, they have a little bit of a hard time with the verbs and conjugating them, especially with the active participle and
Mm.
understanding the concept of active participles and that they act as the present continuous tense, and then we have the verbs which get conjugated. So I feel like that could be a little bit of a challenge at the beginning, but again, once you're past this point, and you dive more in the language, it really becomes easy. I think Egyptian is way easier than Fusha, and much more interesting. Like, yeah.
Yeah, because with Masri, I can go on Instagram and read all of the memes. That's interesting.
Yes, see, that's fun. That's fun, and you can watch a lot of nice movies, comedy movies and shows, like on
Multiple.
Netflix. Yeah,
Yeah, and all like the social media stuff and like lots of YouTubers. It's so nice. Like I love watching stuff in Masri. I still cannot understand a good amount of it, but and like so kind of also the opposite. So what have like in your experience, what have students found to be easier or easy when learning Egyptian Arabic?
I think nouns. I have a lot of students who like prefer it because I use the language acquisition method when I'm teaching. So we're just like looking at pictures and describing them. It's a brilliant method, and students enjoy it a lot. But I feel like they're always like, "Oh, teach us more nouns. Teach us," But they're always trying to avoid, like verbs and conjugating verbs and grammar and but so I think yeah, nouns are fun in Arabic to learn, like to acquire. Yeah, that's easy for them.
I feel like I'm the opposite. I feel like I learned like the grammar and started talking and like I know like 50 words.
That's actually great, like that it's doing it the opposite makes it easy. Once you understand grammar and you get the grasp of it, the rest is going to be easy for you. So yeah, you're doing great.
Still don't understand all of the grammar, but
Come
shut up.
on, you're like, a very smart student. You speak like 6 languages, dude. Like, come on. You're learning Korean now, so that's
Yeah,
for another video.
that was another video. One language at a time. Actually, no, I don't do one language. I do like three at a time or something. But actually, I'm kind of lazy. I just don't really study them even. I just like research. I don't know. I speak in Arabic though a good amount.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yes أنا بستخدم المصري تقريبا كل يوم.
Guys, she is one of the best students that I've ever had in a year and a half, and I have like almost like 300 students. Honestly, she's one of the smartest.
Ah, that's very
That's
nice
the
of
truth.
you. Oh شكرا قوي. We're nice. We're nice. One of the best. One of the best Arabic teachers. Highly recommend Ahmed. But please don't book all of the lessons because I still need to book some. Save some for me. Also, what are some tips that you would give to people who want to learn Egyptian Arabic?
I think the thing with Arabic is there weren't many resources back in the days, but there's starting to be like a lot of resources. So I always advise my students to watch videos, a lot of videos. There's some Netflix shows with English translation. So I'm always advising them to watch a lot of videos. And as you said, like we have a lot of YouTubers, Egyptian YouTubers, of all kinds, creating. Yes, she's one of them. She's an amazing one. And she's gonna grow too fast. No, that's the truth, buddy. You're doing great. So there's like amazing content, Arabic content, like Gina's content, like other, Egyptian YouTubers that you can use to listen to the language, even if you do not understand everything. I think listening to the language, just getting exposed and immersing yourself is very, very useful. And you should make it a habit. So studying the language academically, taking lessons is great, but it's also very useful to start integrating or like immersing yourself in the language. Another thing that would be amazing if you can do is to travel to Egypt. Traveling to Egypt is the best way to immerse yourself and to learn the language and acquire it quickly. And Egypt is a cheap country. One of the few countries open now for tourism. We have amazing places. You're gonna meet amazing people and eat amazing food. So, yeah, if you're serious about the language, I highly recommend that you come visit. And just hit me up if you're here. I'd love to meet you and show you around.
Egypt has best mangoes.
I'm glad to hear, and it has an amazing sugarcane juice that Gina did not like, but
that's debatable. No, I mean a lot of people like it. I just not for me. I like mango juice more. Yeah, not my favorite.
You gotta try it again next time you're here. So maybe you're gonna change your mind,
Oh, inshallah, inshallah. And then also for people who are wanting to learn Arabic, would you recommend that they start learning a dialect, modern standard Arabic, or both at the same time, and why?
Honestly, I wouldn't advise anyone to learn both of them at the same time because I have some students who are, I hope they're not watching, but we're learning both of them at the same time. And it could be a bit confusing, to be honest. So I wouldn't, unless you have a thing for languages. I have some students who are very talented, who can do both. But for the average student, if you know that, if some people have a thing for languages, they can do it. But like personally, if I'm learning Arabic, I wouldn't advise anyone to do both of them at the same time because you get confused and it could be overwhelming, So my advice is if you are studying for academic reasons, is to start with Fusha. I have students who go to universities like Arabic courses, so that's like their major or a minor they're studying at university. So in that case, I would advise them to start with Fusha. But if your goal is to communicate with people, let's say you want to travel around the Middle East, you want to be able to communicate with people when you travel, Fusha is not going to be that useful, honestly. So unless you're studying for academic reasons, or if you want to read literature, for example, I wouldn't advise you to start with Fusha. I just choose a dialect, stick to that. That could be more than enough. But yeah, both of them, from my experience, from what I've seen, it's really, really hard to do both of them at the same time.
I remember I tried to do like a few Fusha lessons and I was like, khalas. Let's do it later.
But that's, yes. And in your case, you don't actually need it, but some people they need to start with Fusha because they have like exams at university.
Yeah.
So that could be useful for them. But to do both of them at the same time, it could be really hard to do.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
in your opinion, how similar or like are Fusha and Masri like similar, or is Masri quite different from Fusha?
That's a bit of a hard question, honestly. I always, think about it, and it's not like having two different languages. The gap is not that big because at the end of the day, it's the same alphabet, same letters. Pronunciation is slightly different. But for example, verb conjugation is it's also similar, but it's not very similar. For example, pronouns are much more in Fusha. Many of the words in Egyptian are different, and it's easier. Like Egyptian is easier for sure. But I would say like the common area is like around 40% maybe. The rules are kind of the same. Like eventually that you can see that there are like commonality or like a common part between Fusha and Egyptian. It's not like two different languages, but there is like 60% difference between them. Like I'd say that if you look at that's just my judgment, but yeah, I feel like there is like 40% common area between the Fusha and the Egyptian dialect. And I have a lot of students who actually start with Fusha, but now they're learning Egyptian with me, so they studied for like 3 years in university, and they decided when they started traveling around the Middle East that Fusha is not working actually, and no one speaks Fusha. So they realized that they need to study Egyptian. It's not really that hard for them. Like they're always making reference to Fusha. Oh, I know this word in Fusha. It's pronounced that way in Fusha, but there's still like the letters are the same. Verb conjugation is a bit similar, even though it's easier. So yeah, I mean, the gap is not. It's not like learning, for example, Chinese and English, for example. No, like
Yeah. And
gap is.
something else that I think is helpful, like either way, regardless if you start with a dialect or with Fusha, is that like at least when you're speaking the dialect, there's still like a lot of words that are derived, like are literally from Fusha. Like there's no like Masri equivalent. You just use the Fusha word. So I feel like
True.
that's also helpful either way.
Yeah, and this is why some like a lot of students get confused with letters, like with words that have the letter qaf, because 99% of the cases the word is the qaf is turned into an alif. So when you say بيتسلق, for example, which is like to climb, they go like, oh, should it be like the qaf is not pronounced, like it should be an alif, but just because it's borrowed from Fusha, some words in the Egyptian dialect are like that, borrowed from Fusha.
Yeah, exactly. بالضبط كده.
شكرا.
And if you like this video, remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when new videos are out, both in English and in Egyptian Arabic. And if there are any topics you would like me to talk about, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much. Well, Ahmed, shukran جدا for speaking with me today and for sharing your knowledge of Masri. I really appreciate it, as always.
شكرا جدا يا Gina, and thank you so much for having me with you. It's an honor. I love your channel, you know that already, and I can't wait for all the next videos. Keep rocking.
Shukran, and Ahmed is an awesome teacher, so if you're interested, like, hit him up with, hey Ahmed, I want to learn Masri. No, but seriously, he's like an awesome person, awesome teacher. Like I learned a lot from him. Like really, I think we have a Google document with like 500 pages already.
Yes.
500
yeah,
pages of notes. I should probably look through it once in a while.
شكرا جدا for having me with you today. It's a real honor, real pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
شكرا ليك and see you soon. مع السلامة.
مع السلامة.